In Chinese mythology, Long Wang lords over the seas and is known as the Dragon King. He is a fearsome guardian deity who controls all dragons, sea creatures, the oceans, and the weather. Although he has a temper, Long Wang is seen as a symbol of good fortune and the mythological embodiment of the concept of yang. He is most popular among Chinese coastal communities. Ancient China was a land where gods and mortals lived in tandem and created a divinely inspired culture. And so it became that early Chinese history and mythology are wholly intertwined. Our new Mighty History series introduces you to the main characters of the marvelous legends of China. Dragons. In Chinese lore, they come in all shapes and sizes. They can be benevolent or evil. They soar to the highest heavens and dive deep to the bottom of the sea. They play with phoenix and with pearls. They are symbols of wisdom, of the emperor, and of realms beyond the mortal world. The benign dragons of China are sacred creatures with the characteristics of 9 animals. They also possess a huge range of supernatural abilities. They are manipulators of water, fire, wind, and ice, triphibians, shapeshifters, cloud breathers, and more. And, as we're about to see, those who are dragon kings have legions of prawn soldiers, crab generals, tortoises, and carps under their command. Every single body of water, from the greatest ocean to the tiniest stream, cascade, or even well, is under the jurisdiction of a dragon. Legend has it that the goddess of creation, Nu Wa, tasked 4 dragons with administering the 4 seas surrounding the eastern continent. Ever since, these dragon kings have held court in grand crystal palaces on the ocean floor. Crystal palaces are fashioned after their imperial counterparts on land but with exotic underwater features. Grand gates of agate reveal a translucent crystal complex, rainbow clamshell shingles tile sloping roofs, and bas-relief dragons coil around pearl-inlaid pillars. His Highness of the Deep rules from a jadeite throne ornamented with glittering gems galore. Throughout the complex, abalone paved paths lead to pink coral gardens and luxuriant seaweed lawns are always flowing with the sea currents. The dragon kings of the East, South, West, and North Seas usually appear as dragon-headed humanoids decked in regal attire. They're the protectors of their respective underwater domains and all its creatures. With instructions from the Jade Emperor of the Heavens, they control the weather and rainfall for the surrounding lands. Many historical texts speak of these dragon kings. The most popular stories come from investiture of the gods and journey to the west. The Dragon King, also known as the Dragon God, is a prominent figure in Chinese art and religion. Called Long Wang in China, he has both a human persona and a dragon form. In East Asian cultures, dragons are most often shown as large, colorful snake-like creatures. While the dragons sometimes have qualities of a turtle or fish, they are most likely seen as enormous serpents. While some named dragons are associated with specific colors, the Dragon King can be shown in any shade. Like other Chinese dragons, he has a horse-like head, sharp horns and claws, and a hair-like beard. As their forms suggest, dragons are also closely associated with water. This is true for the Dragon King. who is a god of water and weather. Like many weather gods around the world, Long Wang was known for his fierce temper. It was said that he was so ferocious and uncontrollable that only the Jade Emperor could command him. His human form reflects this ferocity. He is shown as a noble warrior in elaborate bright red robes. He usually has a fierce expression and poses with a sword. While there are many dragons in Chinese folklore, the Dragon King is the leader of them all. The Dragon Kings of the Four Seas are often thought of as his brothers. They represent the four cardinal directions, the four seasons, and the four bodies of water along China's borders. Ao Guang, the Azure Dragon, is the Lord of the East and of Spring. He controls the waters of the East China Sea. The Red Dragon, or Ao Qin, rules over the South China Sea. He is the god of summer. Their third brother, Ao Shun, is the Black Dragon. Ruling over Lake Baikal in the north, he is the Lord of Winter. Finally, the White Dragon is named Ao Run. Representing the west and autumn, he is the god of Qinghai Lake. All of these dragons, along with the dragons of China's freshwater lakes and rivers, answer to the Dragon King. Unlike them, he is not bound to any one place. The Dragon King was said to live in a magnificent palace below the seas. There, he and his brothers feasted on a diet of pearls and precious jewels. He also controlled all the animals that lived in the sea around him. Like a worldly emperor, he had the creatures of the water as subjects to serve him and do his will. The Dragon King was not the only ruler of the water, however. He was often at odds with the more peaceful goddess of the sea, Mazu. While the Dragon King can be a fearsome and temperamental lord, he is also a protective deity. Just as he controls all of China's water, he also protects all of its territory and people. Because of this, he continues to be a popular god, particularly in coastal regions. People pray to him not only in the hopes of avoiding his anger, but also to be protected from their enemies, particularly those that come on ships over the sea. In these regions, the Dragon King is not only feared for the power of his temper, but is also revered for the help he gives. He is seen as a god who brings good fortune to those who show him respect and obedience. The Dragon King was such an important figure in Chinese culture that he was adopted into Buddhism as a god as well. The most famous legend of the Dragon King reveals how Long Wang achieved godhood through the methods of the Buddha. The Dragon King fathered thousands of children, but only one of them became famous as a student of Buddha. Long Wang's 8-year-old daughter, Sagara, once saw a beggar and felt compassion for him. Seeing his suffering, she gave the beggar a rare jewel as a gift. Unbeknownst to her, the beggar was actually Buddha in disguise. After revealing himself and seeing her potential as a student, the Buddha took Sagara under his tutelage and taught her the Dharma. Even though it annoyed the Dragon King greatly, due to his impulsive and impetuous personality, that his daughter was now a disciple of Buddha, he honored Sagara's wishes and did not prevent her learning under the Buddha's wing. Sagara, however, had a plan in mind. It was her desire to teach the ways of the Buddha to her father so that he would become more than a mortal. She desired the Dragon King to become a god. After many attempts to teach her father the ways of the Buddha, Long Wang refused to listen. He enjoyed his fiery nature, and he loved eating gems and precious stones. Seeing how much Sagara desired her father to know his teachings, ultimately the Buddha made a trip to the Dragon King's ocean palace himself. The Dragon King was impressed with the Buddha and soon began to learn of Dharma directly from the master. Finally, seeing the merit of the Buddha's teachings, Long Wang began to weave Dharmic concepts into all of his kingdom business. And after adopting the Buddha's concepts himself, the Dragon King soon attained godhood. The belief in Long Wang is still common today in China's coastal villages and communities. His favor is especially sought after in times of drought. Like the goddess Mazu, temples to the Dragon King are commonly found along shoreline roads and are also found at the end destinations of seafaring travelers. Sacrifices and processions are offered to the dragon god during the 5th and 6th lunar months, and larger celebrations are made on the 13th day of the 6th month, as this is revered as the Dragon King's birthday. Dragon boats, which are paddled by up to 22 men and women, are traditionally raced during the Dragon King's celebrations. The Dragon King's long snake-like body is also a favorite representation during Chinese New Year parades. Long Wang is still most popular in Chinese coastal communities, and his name is invoked in times of drought. It's not uncommon to see temples dedicated to him along beachside roads. Long Wang's birthday falls on the 13th day of the 6th moon of the lunar year and is celebrated with sacrifices and parades. The popular dragon boats are modeled after his likeness and are meant to represent his fiery nature. Long Wang plays an important role in ancient Chinese literature like the Function Yanyi, or the Investiture of the Gods, the Lotus Sutra, and Journey to the West.